just want to say Happy New Year to all present. Hopefully it will be a good New Year for all of us. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Chair Mertz.
Here.
Commissioner Livermore.
Here.
Commissioner Levinson. Here. Commissioner Tobiaimo.
She is just delayed.
Councilmember Herring.
Okay. All right, great. Let's have a motion to approve our minutes of the December 1st meeting.
Make the motion.
You're here. We moved you to a better seat.
Motion?
I'll second it. Sorry, I'm not supposed
No,
to.
that's right, we just called the roll, so you are just fine. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 1st meeting.
I second it.
You can vote.
Chair Mertz.
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore.
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson. Yes. Commissioner Tobiaimo. Yes.
Great. Now, if all of you will just identify yourselves to the clerk so that we have a record that you're here. We'll start over at this end and we'll move this way. Just speak your name and Carrie can just record that you're here.
Harry Edmund.
Dusan Pocic.
Robert Martella.
Stephen Foyer.
Elizabeth Rose.
Chris Bakish.
Okay, great. So our first item of business is you,
Miss
Mr. Edmonds. Oh, sorry.
Charles Hartley.
Thank you for chiming in.
That's okay.
Is Mr. Edmonds, our question last time was, did we have a record of the inspection that was in time that either just didn't get to the code enforcement office or they missed it? So were you able to provide them with a,
I have the guy call. I don't know who he spoke to or sent any message to. I have no. But I came and expressed the situation to Joe. Joe said he'll look into
this
it
is
to
for
see.
the electrical
Yeah,
inspection?
to see if whatever the guy sent, did he get it yet?
Did we get anything from Mr.
I don't know if
Edmonds?
his name is Greg or.
I know that he was trying to call when he came to the window. He was like, look, I'm trying to call him, I'm trying to call him.
I spoke to him,
Yeah.
and I spoke to him.
Do you have a canceled check or anything, some payment that shows that you paid him during that period of time that would have been?
That's the whole thing, man. He didn't take any money from me, and I expressed that to Joe and John. He didn't take not a 1 cent. I pay everyone else that did inspection except him. He didn't take anything. He told me he'll get in contact with code enforcement. And I came right away, expressed it to code enforcement, and then expressed that that's what he said, and I got his name off the list of the paper that I got. So and then I spoke to him before the year changed. He said he was gonna send everything. He had some problem, family issue, somebody died.
Remind me who the inspector was.
Right. I came.
Oh, Armand?
His name was on the list. I came and told Joe about it. Joe think, I don't know if he said he called or he sent some email. But I could get his. I probably could get him on the phone right now if you want me to.
Why don't we keep this on the table for 1 more month, just to make sure he can get in touch with this guy? Because I still think that we want to give him the chance to document that it was done within the proper time.
Or if you give me a second chance, I have a new guy come to the job instead of going
Yeah,
back to
we
the
just
same.
need
person.
some,
Because the thing
objective
is, I
evidence.
only go by the list of the name, and then I can't call my personal guys to come do that type of
Yeah,
thing.
I don't know how to get information from him.
I thought he had a good relationship with
Do we-
Cody.
well-
If we know who it is, we could call them. I don't know who it is.
Okay, these guys will call for you. If you want to, one of you step outside, get his information, come right back. We'll
Thank
go
you
on
so
with our
much.
agenda. You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Martella.
Hey.
Well, we discovered that you had a very long list of outstanding violations that were not covered by the one that you submitted. I have a copy of it here.
I have copies
You have a copy of the one from Marco.
I have copies, yeah, I have copies of.
And apparently those were,
Can I have that?
yeah, sure.
You'll find there's another one on here, so. so because there was such a discrepancy between Terry Weaver and Mark Hogue, Terry had 6 violations and Mark had 40. I decided last week to hire Bim Palmer, who is recommended on your list of recommendations. He's licensed. Take a look at the house. He was just there last week. And Bim also came up with 6 violations. So I'm really not sure what Mark was thinking when he took a look at this property. And you guys know Bim, and I know you're gonna make the phone call for that other gentleman, but if you wanna call Bim and see, I mean, Mark's list is,
Can I ask a question while
Of
I
course.
was looking at this? This is briefly when I was here last, this is that same property, okay, sorry, I wasn't here last month because of personal reasons. Didn't we say that we can't clear an inspection with a new
Yeah, the
inspection?
code specifically says you have to use an inspector from either the inspection company that you initially did the initial inspector, or you have to use the initial inspector. So someone that works at
The original company?
the original company or Mark Hogue has to clear it, because we don't want property owners calling 8 inspectors, getting 8 lists, and then submitting the one that they like the best.
Okay, so if we do have this new inspector that this gentleman hired just to try to get this all straightened out and cleared up, would we accept that? Would the city accept that?
Well, so I think this was up for another, I think the reason you did this was because you were due for an inspection, right?
no, I'm not due for an inspection until I think 28.
Well,
The reason I did this is because Mark's list, there was such a discrepancy between 6 and 40. I mean, I understand that if it was 16 and 20, you know, if it's 6 and 40, it was too much of a discrepancy. So I hired him myself, I paid him to come out and take a look at it. And, you know, I'll stand by whatever your decision is, but it doesn't make sense, you know, and after speaking with a lot of people, I'll be honest with you know, with Mark, not many people are in his good graces, not many people care for him. You know, I understand he has a job to do, you know, but I really feel I'm being victimized by him. Not by you, not by you, by him, and I am not sure why. So that's why I went out last week.
So if I remember correctly, he never came back out to clear those violations, correct?
No, but what happened was I wound up hiring Terry
That
Weaver,
second
who was no longer recommended from you, corrected all those violations. I have the certificate to show that they were all corrected from Commonwealth, where he worked for. And then I just decided now to do this on my own, because I know Terry doesn't work there anymore.
Okay.
Well, Terry's not recommended.
Now, Commonwealth cleared those violations that were there.
but they're
Do
not.
we have that record? No,
Well, so,
thank you.
let me
Yeah, I only have one.
I'm gonna
So if you want
just
to-
back up real quick. So,
Yeah.
the city provides a list of third-party electrical inspectors.
Right,
That list is, you know, it's a list of people that do electrical inspections. Property owners hire those people individually, so we really don't have any oversight of what Mark Hogue does versus
what
what
they
they
send it in, right.
If we go in and find, like, let's say we do a housing inspection and we go in and go, whoa, someone just signed off on this and there's obvious electrical violations. We might contact the inspection company and be like, ooh, we have some, or we might contact the inspector directly and say,
What's this?
what is this? But typically, those third-party inspectors all work independently outside of our office's oversight.
But they're approved by our city that we would accept those inspections.
Yes, so
And if they're not on that list, then we do not accept their inspections from anybody other than what's on our list, which is a list of, I think, 6 now, right?
yeah, it's like 6. We have reached out to the electrical board, we've requested them to give us some guidance as to like what they wanna do with the inspection list, like if they wanna set, right now what happens is an inspector would submit like basically a resume, and then I'll review their resume and be like, oh, this person was an electrician for X amount of time, they professionally worked as an inspector for this amount of time, and we kind of curate the list based on inspection companies requesting us to put them on
Okay.
this list. So the discrepancy between these two inspectors is just don't wanna say an anomaly, but it's one of those, Mark inspects, this guy inspects, they're both electrical inspectors, they're both insured by third-party companies, they're both covered under the same, they're inspecting for the same code. I don't know why there would be a discrepancy, but there's probably a discrepancy between when John and I inspect a house. He might see stuff that I might not
Right,
see.
it's personal, you know, what you.
Yeah, I mean, I might go to a house on a Wednesday and catch 40 violations, and then 2 days later go, oh man, I forgot the handrail on this back stair wasn't right. So I mean, there's obviously gonna be some discrepancy between the inspections
If
Just
this company
based on
is saying,
what someone observed on that day.
So,
But this is a huge
Hogue did,
discrepancy.
very big number difference, I agree with you. The Hogue did the inspection, there was 40 violations, then Commonwealth is the newest company, correct? Was the
What-
second company
Yes.
that did inspection. Was
Yep.
that
That was
Commonwealth
And that was
inspection,
clear.
that was only 6
Yep.
that cleared? That was only 6 inspections that cleared, and that was within the time frame that it should have been done, is my next question.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Hogue's was also done within the time frame it was supposed to be done, but the inspections never cleared within that time frame.
Right,
correct?
there's many more
And the
violations.
only
Mark
person that
never
can
cleared
clear
this.
it is Mark,
Correct.
and Mark's MIA for you, is what you're saying,
No, I did not recontact him.
after the fact,
No.
even after our last meeting in December. I
Right,
mean, in
I did not
November.
contact him, no. That's why I went out to
And you
somebody
went out
else,
to Commonwealth to get, excuse me.
just to get another opinion.
This new company.
Yeah, just because the discrepancy
CSI.
was so large.
and I think the difficulty here is that our code says it's gotta be the same inspector or company, and it's not. And that's our challenge, is that we have, now we have 3 different inspections, and they're all kind of different. I mean, there's some items on the Hogue report that were picked up on
CSIS,
the newest one with,
CEIS, whatever it is.
yeah. So it means there's still violations, and that they are consistent with the ones that were there when Mark Hogue did the inspection, but we don't know about the other ones and what,
But
You
the
know-
violations, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but those violations, you have to realize, that was from 2018, we're in 2023. So there's 5 years difference that there has not been an inspection. So these are new that came up, these weren't there that had to be corrected
Yeah,
at that time.
unfortunately, the code is kind of messing us up, that it specifies you gotta go with the same company,
Is there a
or,
way that we can, sorry to interrupt, Marge, is there a way that we as the city can intervene and contact Mark?
So that's what I was
If
gonna
he's on our
say.
list as approved, I mean, if he isn't doing his job properly, or,
Well,
I mean,
so some of the things on this list, I mean, like the use of extension cords, he has that on the list. I mean, that's a temporary thing.
right,
So that could be something that Mark saw the day he was there. I mean, these inspections are a snapshot in time.
right, right.
If I go to someone's house and I see a code violation that's, you know, maybe a curtain too close to a stove, or it could, we would say that's a violation, but that could be corrected in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So some things on this list could in fact have just been immediately corrected.
Right,
So what I would recommend we do is we contact Mark Hogue
mhm.
and we say, can we come to this property and look through this list and verify what these violations are?
all right, let's
Okay.
make this decision
And
on
then,
behalf.
sorry, and then can we clear it at that point?
I
If
mean,
you're
we-
saying that the city is gonna step foot and go into the building and do inspection ourselves,
Well,
Can
we would
Hogue's
do that
inspection-
with Mark Hogue.
oh, with him together, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
Ron, potentially.
Let's agree, maybe not, but let's try, to agree to, approve the appeal pending
Yes.
and that we will get a report from them saying, it has been cleared, we're all right, or no, it wasn't, and then the
I agree, this
the
gentleman
things that,
trying to go out of his way to,
the administrative fee will stand.
I'm good with that.
Would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion, pending that the city's involvement, with Mark Hogue to clear, Mark Hogue must clear the 40 violations that he originally saw, unfortunately, sorry, because that's how our code reads, and then, once we have that back from Mark, and he'll be there at that
Yeah.
point in time, to get that cleared immediately.
I just have
Thank you
one
for-
quick, I know everybody wants to get on this agenda real fast. Mark also put in here, bedroom 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, that there is not enough outlets.
Yeah, so that's something that I would talk to Mark Hogue about
But
during the
we-
inspection.
No, but of course,
We're gonna let that be part of the negotiation with
Okay.
Mark Hogue and find out how serious that is. You know,
Okay, well,
we're not experts in that regard. We're just hearing your appeal and hearing all these sides, and we're going to send it to the professionals, and they will let us know, and we will let you know that either your fee is waived or it stands based on the report that we get from code enforcement.
And before we vote, can I just ask one more question?
Yes, certainly. Do we have a second, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks.
If these violations are cleared at that point in time, let's say that there's the 40 on the list and it's down to these 6 that are listed on this new one from this, let's say they match, then what?
I mean, I think that part of this process will be to review this report, determine if some of these temporary conditions have been corrected, determine if some of these overlap and have been corrected.
Okay,
I mean, like, I agree it's 2018, I mean, this is a 5-year.
right.
So, I mean, we can look at this, and I see there's a couple things on here that I actually have questions about with Mark, so
Okay,
I think we'll have to weed through this and try to figure it out.
okay, I appreciate that. Thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Okay, yes, thank you. We still have to vote.
Chair Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobias?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Have a good
You're
trip
welcome.
back.
Thank you.
And, we'll be, you know how to get in touch with these guys, so
yes, I do.
just keep
All
in touch.
three. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
See you, Joe.
Here we have a bunch of items from Mr. Divinino. Is someone here representing him? Okay, well, we're gonna move on then. We have, so that is number, I'm gonna jump over the Academy Street, one, just because we've got 2 unsafes at the end, so I'd like to do our administrative fees through. So that's 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 4, 5, and 6, I'd like to move to the end of the meeting. The next one we have is 29 Church Street. Thank you for coming in. This is Mr. Foyer. We had to do some research, and let me turn to that part of our agenda here. We got a lot of paperwork today. Here we are. So the appeal says we purchased this property with express purpose of repairing items previous owners were unable to accomplish. The fees that accumulated were fees accrued by previous owner for failure to schedule electrical inspections and fill out smoke detector forms. Please waive these fees as we are owners doing the inspections, etc. correctly. If you look, I have no idea what page this is. We're way back in the, and if you look at the correspondence to the previous owners, which were Mr. Healy and Mr. Gomez, Rego Park, New York, there was a letter dated September 8th indicating that these inspections were due November 7th. So they gave them 2 months to complete the inspections, and they were not done. Mr. Weinberg purchased the property on May 17th, and I have a little document showing the property transfer. Looks like this, just shows us the date that it actually happened, May 17th of 2022. I also received from the finance office a letter that would have gone probably to you. It was the tax search, whoever did your title search. And it indicates that you should follow up with code to find out if there are any accruing administrative fees. There were. That probably should have been taken care of at closing.
True. I'm not denying. By the way, first let me clarify. Steve Foyer, Rick and I both own the property.
Oh, right, I saw F and W.
F&W
I'm like,
together. So
wonder who that is.
I want to make that clear up front.
Okay, great.
To me, that looks like just plain boilerplate. I'm surprised that the city finance department doesn't get that information and put it in print. and say, here's how much the administrative fees have been up till now, $900, whatever it is. When you do a closing, there's so much paperwork. I mean, it can be overwhelming for most. To me, that looked like boilerplate language. And Mr. Healy and Mr. Collins, they didn't bring to our attention that there was any violations or any administrative fees. We didn't know. But I will point out that we bought the property in May of 2022, and we had the electrical work done in July, and we had an inspection in early October. We spent $979 getting that work done. We spent over $8,000 just getting the soffits done, all that work that needed to be done. We had to rent, include that, we had to rent a boom, you know, a thing with a ladder on it that goes up for $3,200. So we took this pretty seriously. It's not like we just laid back and did nothing.
I appreciate that.
But we didn't, you know, partly you know, this bill should go to Mr. Healy, Mr. Collins, not us.
Well, it should have been taken care of at closing,
But-
and that's why
but-
you have a letter.
Yeah,
But meanwhile, the number on the invoice is incorrect. I did the calculation. There's 191 days before you closed, from November 7th of 2021, when these inspections were due, to May 17th, 2022. There were 191 days. And I don't know where the 2532 came up, 2,532, but according to my calculations, with $250 on the first day and $7 every day after that, the invoice should have read, and you get credit for 6 months after you buy the building. So on May 17th, the fees stopped. And they weren't
calculated.
done until November 17th, but the work was done by then, and you had submitted your paperwork, so that we appreciate that. That was great. Got in under that wire. So the fees that were previously due should have been $1,580 on the nose. And again, I know a little bit about the real estate market in town, and I also know that water and sewer and code enforcement are not included in your tax search. You have to make a separate call. Most people do. So personally, I think it would be inappropriate for us to waive the fees that should have been discovered at closing, but we could amend them to the appropriate number, which was $1,580. That would be my recommendation. You may have some additional questions for Mr. Foyer.
I have a question for you, actually. This tax search certificate is what they are lawyer received at closing, which clearly states everything is in order except as follows: code enforcement according to administration fees. Please contact code enforcement for more information.
That's correct.
So it clearly states that there are still outstanding fees on the property, so the lawyers did not catch this.
That's why I think they have to stand. You know, we've had this situation in the past where fees were due that were not discovered at closing, and, you know, that's what you have to do. We have 3 levels: taxes, water and sewer.
But the bill really should be $1,580 per the time.
That's
frame,
what I
not
would
20.
recommend. I don't know if you have additional questions. With that in mind, I make a motion that we reduce the administrative fees due to $1,580 and approve the appeal to that level.
I second that.
I have a second. Oh, she seconded? Oh,
Sorry, I did.
hey, you didn't speak up.
Sorry, I was writing at the same time.
So, oh.
Chairperson,
Looks like we're not gonna get it. Anyway, yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
yes.
Commissioner Tobias? Yes.
So we reduced it?
Well, thank you very much. I'll just note an exception since
I I heard your exception, and I
Yeah.
understand, but it's
I understand,
the way
I understand.
business is done. So
Clear.
thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump right ahead here. Who's next? Let's see. Where am I? Here we are. Okay, now we have the heating inspection appeal from, the 06? Oh, that's you. Okay, sorry.
It's very not having common names.
Yeah, I know. I have a very uncommon name
It's
myself.
very, it's
so-
very not American name.
That's right. Well, mine isn't either. My maiden name was even harder.
What was it?
It was Keogh,
Keogh.
K-E-O-U-G-H. No one could ever pronounce it. It was either cough or some other strange thing.
They call me
Anyway.
Paul Seco kind of name, right?
Yeah, right.
It's okay.
So, do you have a cancel check or some kind of documentation?
It's been sent to the code. I talked to John over the summer over this, and this was the story. We had a PO box in Oneonta, 758, and that was for the longest time delivered there. But John told me that they certified mail over there, but nobody ever signed it because I changed my PO box a year ago.
Oh,
So I never knew there was never sent the certificate inspection for the heating.
right.
I called Gregory and they sent it right away, so they should have it now.
Right, but the question is, it appeared from your documentation, and it may be that the dates were incorrect. Everyone, you just want to look at the very last few pages here, and look like that.
I'm looking at.
If you look at the, date on the cover, it says 8/23/2021.
The inspection was done when it's supposed to be done.
Do you have some documentation other than just this? Because some people fudge the dates.
Well, I paid them, I paid them cash. They give me a receipt, but that's it.
Do you have a receipt?
My wife had a receipt. I didn't bring it with me, but we have a
That's
receipt.
okay.
We have a
If you
receipt.
have a
I've
receipt,
seen that, I've seen that.
We have the
The receipt
receipt.
is-
We
yes,
have the
the
receipt. I know for a fact. And I'll never pay cash nobody ever again in my life.
well, that's probably not.
But luckily, they give me a receipt. It was a small receipt, and if I lost that receipt, I'd be in
Yeah,
bad
right,
shape. I
right.
usually always pay with a check.
Business, always.
Well, it's just good documentation, or you get something, you save it because of these kind
Well,
of.
I rely on people sending the to the code enforcement after you pay them. But I mean, somehow everything get lost in and somehow.
Well, the administrative fee system exists to get the work done, right?
Well,
So, but
can I
when
say,
you get the work done and somehow the paperwork doesn't get where it belongs, we're all a flutter about that, but it means that somehow you have to prove that it actually was done.
well, let me ask you something. How I get my taxes to get paid? How they get my address? The tax people to pay my taxes.
Right.
So how we don't get my address for the code enforcement?
We have a form that everyone that has rental property is required to fill. If you change your address, you have to submit it to us.
Well, I didn't submit. I don't want to be rude to you or anything. I didn't submit to the tax people, but they somehow have it. They're just
So-
down below.
At the
so-
closing, at the closing, part of that paperwork was a document.
Yeah, but he's owned it
So-
for a long time. He's just saying he changed his post
Well, I never get my mail, even if I had a PO box or my own address. Everybody else got my mail but myself. So if you decide to pay $80 for so many years and I still didn't get my mail, so I'm saying to myself, you know what? Forget the post office. I'm gonna get to my house, and that's the end of it. My daughter get her social security screwed up over this. They never forward it to us. Any of it. This is not the first instance. This is so much. The post office is so bad. They should be out of the business. Let me tell you, I'm so mad because let me tell you, when they lost you citizenship, when they lost you passports and everything else, this is nothing. You have to go back to New York City to get you citizenship renewal and everything else. This is nothing. Believe me when I tell you, it's so bad. When the people tell me send me the PO, the post office says forget about it. Go to FedEx or UPS. The post office shouldn't be in business. This is all because of them.
Right, and again, if you do you have,
So, this is what we have
Right.
about that.
that's not what I'm asking.
I
I'm
know,
asking
I know,
about
you're
the
asking
receipt.
the receipt, I know.
John, you've seen the receipt and stated within the time frame.
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, it's,
I have a receipt. I'm going to bring the receipt if I have to bring the receipt. I have a small receipt from Gregory
It's
Plumbing.
right
We
here,
got a
it's
copy
not
of it.
agreed, it says to CFI from Bob 8/23/21,
It says 8/23/21.
and it says $180.
Right.
Okay, that's what we needed.
No, you guys have to work because you don't know what's happening, so that's, you have to
Yeah,
figure it
and
out.
we-
Unfortunately, you're gonna be like investigator.
We have a, yes, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to the city to follow the code and follow the, and follow the rules so that the whole city doesn't go
Right,
crazy.
fall
I
apart,
mean,
right.
we-
Well,
We
you
would
have to
have
understand.
everybody in here
I
who
have-
said, oh, sure.
And
no
I'm not a major landlord. I have properties for 33 years now, and this is the first time that something like this happened. Really, I mean, you guys know this. I get up 4 o'clock in the morning. I work an hour away from here. I get up 4 o'clock to shovel my snow in front of my houses. I'm not a major landlord, but I'm telling you, I do my. Once I cannot do my duties, guess what? I'm selling my houses. I am. Believe me, and you're gonna lose a good landlord. Believe me when I tell you that. Not too many people wants to do what they're supposed to do. They just got a bunch of houses. Let me tell you, one of my houses on the Washington Street, and I hate to say this, is becoming a ghetto. A ghetto. I mean, I'm ashamed to go into that street how bad it looks. Okay? That people are just not even living in the area here. They don't live here. They just want to suck the money out of the houses and they walk away from it. That's what's. I mean, you guys go around and see what's going on.
Well, we
I
appreciate.
mean, the,
what you're
value
doing.
of my property, believe it or not, when the house across from my house is disaster, and that's what's going on. And I'm not that kind of landlord. Once I'd be ashamed to be a landlord like that.
We're not bowing the new federal government here. Sorry.
Are we getting a copy of the receipt? We have a copy of the receipt. The code
And
has
it's dated
agreed that we have a copy.
8/23/21.
Yeah.
That was within the time frame.
So shall we make a decision here?
I'll make a motion that because we do have the receipt, the code has a receipt, that inspection was done within the time frame, we just received the, I guess,
It was
certificate,
done within the.
that we waive the fee.
Thank you for coming.
Well, I thank you. I mean, like I said, this is the first time. It's a big experience for me, but I'll make sure that you all guys always get, and like I said, you guys have my email. If something like that happened, please email us. If anything like this happened, because I hate, I feel like I'm gonna go from now on, get the certificate from whoever, and bring it to you guys by
On the
myself.
15th,
Thank you.
I mean, that's the only way it's gonna work. It's not gonna be a puzzle.
both, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Well, guys, thank you. It was nice meeting you, everybody. I'll see you around, guys.
nice to
We'll
connect.
have pizza again.
Huh?
We'll have
Pizza.
Okay.
apart,
42, 44, that's what you're here for, 42, 44 Academy Street?
No, that's for the supplemental.
Oh,
I'm the ad.
oh, you're here for the 100 West Broadway, okay.
That's it.
So, all right, we're gonna take 44. So, friends, it's at the very beginning, but sort of in the middle. It looks like this. This is Mr. Nickerson's property. And again, I will repeat. Under chapter 92, so it looks like it's about.
Not doing Liz's
We're not doing
first?
this?
Oh, why, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
That's all right, sorry.
Well, I know you.
I was
you
kind
wanna
of
go
roll out,
home.
like, wait a minute, go backwards.
So, under chapter 92, we're gonna look at some pictures, are we? Under chapter 92, the Board of Public Service is directed to act as a quasi-judicial board to determine whether the characteristics of an unsafe property, which are outlined in chapter 92, section 1, apply to a particular property. Should we determine that, then our second action is to agree on a remedy, and there we are. So, here are the pictures. You may want to start back at the beginning, please. Okay, this is 107 West Broadway. Oh my goodness. Okay,
This is not
So-
right?
I'm gonna turn over to you guys. So would you like to speak about this property?
This is just a commercial inspection that Brad Smith, he's a fire captain with Oneonta Fire. He works for us part-time. He did a commercial inspection at this property, with Liz.
Yes.
And he walked through, he took some photos, he was kind of shocked at the condition, and I think that Liz was too.
To say the least.
I think the workers go in and out daily.
It's our warehouse, they use it as a warehouse.
Right.
Yeah, they're there every day.
They're in there, the people.
People go in there?
Okay.
We store our equipment in there, our trucks are stored in there.
Oh dear.
That's not safe.
Oh, this is terrible.
So-
Health hazard.
Yeah, Brad saw the condition of the building and he said, I really think we need to take this, and I said, sure, we'll get to the board.
Okay, falls under E, I,
Ooh. Under chapter 92, the code enforcement office has identified the following conditions. C, those which have improperly distributed loads upon the floors or roofs in which such are overloaded, or which have insufficient strength to be reasonably safe for the purposes used. D, those which have damaged by fire, wind, or other causes so as to have become dangerous to life, safety, morals, and general health and welfare of the occupants or the people of the city of Oneonta. G, those which have inadequate facilities for egress in case of fire or panic, and those having insufficient stairways, elevators, fire escapes, or other means of escape, which would include windows, I suppose, since this is one story. Those which have parts which are so attached that they may fall and injure members of the public or property. And those, AI, those which have become, those which because of their condition are unsafe, unsanitary, or dangerous to the health, morals, safety, or general welfare of the people of the city. This is, yes. I would also add,
Did you let me?
the well, we did D.
E.
So
Saying
C,
E.
D,
She's saying E.
E, those which have become so, yes, I would say we would add E. Thank you. So that's C,
C, D, E, G, H, I.
G, H, and I. What about this?
Obviously, the roof needs to be replaced. It's leaking in like 3 different places. I can't get that done right now because of weather, but as soon as practical, we will. I have hired, and I actually only brought 3 copies. I did get a hold of Jason at Anything Removal, who has already made a really big dent in removing stuff. So I did bring photos just to show we are working on it. In fact, he just sent me another text. Hey, I need more money. I got a shitload done. And I go, so I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow morning. But I did bring just to show you we are working on it.
Okay, great. Let's,
think
you
that-
know what, actually, hold off just a minute. Just hold off. Take your pictures back. You're gonna hand them out in a minute. Let's determine whether this is unsafe, and then we can begin to talk with Liz about the remedy.
Right.
That's much more important in many ways than I mean, the first decision is essential, and the second decision will be the one to go on. So, let's say we have to make a motion. Would you like to make a motion to declare this unsafe based on C, D, E, G, H, and I?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
that based on C, chapter 92, C, D, E, G, H, and I, that the property be declared unsafe.
Okay, so do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Chair Mertzick,
Yes,
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Amison,
Yes.
Commissioner Tobiaski. Yes.
thank you. Okay, so now you can hand your pictures out, but here's some of our concerns. We want to make sure the building, while it's being worked on, is secure. So that people around the building, like kids, can't get in.
It is fenced off
It
with
is
a metal
fenced?
fence. Yes, and it is secure with a metal,
I see the
it
fence,
is
but
all, yeah.
okay.
Do you have a picture of that room? Can you go back to that room where the ceiling is falling down into the room?
I see that,
Do you have a picture of that room cleaned
I
up?
do not have that.
I think that's more possibly insulation and stuff.
It is,
Well,
it
yeah,
is
the
a
structures.
But that, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that the roof is obviously compromised at that point, so, I mean,
And it
Well, that's a secondary roof,
it
that's,
can-
That's
I
not
think
the
it
main
collapsed,
roof.
right. Okay, so this is like a small
It's a
remote
little
side
room
or
off
something?
the
Okay.
side.
What is your expectation in terms of time frame for getting it back to a situation where it's not, really,
The roof or not the roof? Like the roof, I'm not gonna probably be able to do. I did talk to the guys that do our roofing, and they said March, maybe April, depends on weather. As soon as practical is all they told me.
right? What about
All of
the,
this other stuff, like the clean out, Jason said a couple of days.
how about cleaning out around the outside?
He said a couple days.
He's gonna be working on that.
Yes.
So let's make a motion that first of all, the property be insured.
Can I ask a question? I need to ask a question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So the people are still working, you have your stuff still in there, or you move them to somewhere else where you're working?
Nobody works in there. They just go there and get the truck. Like the overhead door, they open the overhead door and the truck is sitting right there.
So they just get it. How much time do they spend in the building, getting the truck in and out?
5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, but where the truck is not the photos that you're seeing where the roof is.
I think this is where the truck is. It's on the second page of what she's offered us. I'm gonna send this down to you guys.
Okay. And
I
this is
think
what it
that's
looks
where
like
the-
now?
Yes, and like I'm saying, the guy's doing a great job. He came right away yesterday morning when I called him and,
I think that's a tool room, correct? Brad said tools were being rained on,
yes.
In the room that's kind of collapsed.
right?
Yeah. I think we need to protect the public from the trash that's around the outside of the building. So I think we need to ensure within like 15 days that the exterior of the building is clean and and be sure that it's secured.
Trucks.
It worries me very much that someone not part of your company can get into the building, because that one room is, really hazardous with insulation coming down.
They don't, well, I guess they could break in. So I don't know how they would, it is all locked
Well,
up.
kids, when the gate is open,
Well, we do keep that locked,
even
But
when
I
people are
understand
coming
what
in
you're
and out.
yes. The gate is independent of where they come in or out.
Meanwhile, I think we need an inspection before we allow, I think is there a part of the building we wanna make sure they can't get into?
They shouldn't be in that tool room properly. I don't know if that's used daily.
No, it's,
Okay.
So the
Brad
other-
said there were tools in there, he said they were good tools, and they were being rained on. But I wouldn't want anybody in that area.
So where the two vehicles are being parked, the roof is not compromised?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Well, I don't think so.
Is 15 days enough time to get?
My concern is
Because
that
the
if,
winter is getting.
yeah, my concern is that if there are people, they're workers, even though they're their workers, they're still our citizens that are going into this building that's not safe, that, I mean, even just to get the trucks, can the trucks be parked outside for the next?
That's why I
Months.
asked how much time they spend when they go in there. That's why I asked that question. Yeah.
I mean, because we don't know that other side of the roof isn't compromised, it looks like it's kind of like top, I don't know, what if it's plastic glass window tile at the top, I don't really know what it is, but,
Don't want anyone getting hurt, something falling on anyone or on the truck, That 5 minutes
I'm
is
not
enough
trying to
time.
make
they're
life
welcome to
difficult
come
for
look
you
at
guys.
it. No, I understand, but believe me, we've had issues leaving it outside, that's why it's
The
inside.
trucks.
Yeah, it's literally just inside the overhead door, and I'm happy to meet them down there. Not to have them look at that.
If she's sure that she can work on it within 15 days, which I doubt because the erratic weather, we know going on around this.
They're just saying the garbage
Ye-
removal, that's it, they're not saying roof in 15
And the
days.
roof is the most
Yeah,
important
no,
thing.
we're talking about the roof being 3 months away.
Right.
One of our options is to say that it has to be vacated, that you'll have to go
That's
to
what I
some other
thought.
space.
That's what I thought.
And we don't necessarily want to disrupt your business that way,
No.
but we need some assurances from you that the building is for the people who are going in and out, that it's safe for them.
Okay, well, we can table this and have them go look
Yeah.
at it.
They should
Happy
inspect.
to do that. I don't
And
think that
can we block off the room that's where the ceiling is
we
collapsing?
can tear it down. It's
You
an
can
internal
tear
room.
it down.
That room inside is just an internal room. We can take that part of it down. It's just a little add-on room.
So this little overhang in the back there, that's not part of it,
No, we're not even in that section. We're in the
or
other
the other
section.
section?
So maybe that's, we wanna order it demolished. We wanna
Do you
order
guys want
that part
portion of
demolished.
your building there? Do you wanna fix it, or do you need it? I mean, let's go,
What
let's
part
ask
of
that
the
question
building
first.
It doesn't matter.
Can you show
It doesn't
me
matter
this?
either way.
Based on the pictures?
I
So
I
this
think
little-
Liz
this-
can probably point it out better.
This little room is an add-on, is what she's saying, to the building itself
Yeah,
that
well,
we're
that's-
seeing.
Well,
in
it's
the
an
house.
add, like inside the big building. It's just a little room they built
Shed.
in,
Oh,
right,
they built it inside,
inside. That's not, I mean, that's not the roof. That's just an inside room they built.
So you can demolish that?
We could take that room away, absolutely.
But the roof above it is compromised, then you're saying?
It's
so how did the roof get,
The roof is leaking above it. That's what's making all the insulation fall.
oh,
But that's not what the roof above it looks like. This is the little room inside that we could just take down.
So the roof above it
Why don't we
isn't part
direct
of the
them-
rest of this?
why don't we direct
Go
them?
see and, be sure that, other than the demolition, I'm thinking that they should also be sure that it's safe for the
Right.
5-10 minutes
That they are
going to
building.
get the truck in and out. If it's not safe, then she has to relocate those trucks and
They
close
don't
up.
want their equipment vandalized either, you know.
How about if we do this? How about if we've declared it unsafe, we've ordered it secured, we've ordered the trash cleaned up? But we haven't done that
But we
yet,
will,
but that's
right.
part of our action.
Demolition, the-
How about if we revisit this at our next meeting and have a full inspection with the work being done and say, you come in with the code and give them a plan. We would like it taken down because it looks like it needs to be taken down. It looks pretty ruined.
That room
That
inside?
little room.
Yeah, I have no issue with that, none whatsoever.
So let's direct that and hear again from code, a report. Do you have all this down? Carrie's a master.
Within 15
Mistress.
days, exterior cleaned, and ensure that it is secured, and will visit February meeting, close with full inspection.
Is that
Is that your
satisfactory to you? Okay,
Is that your motion?
that is my motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, we
Okay.
have a plan here.
Great.
Will you get in touch with them?
Yeah, I say I'll call tomorrow. Okay. very
Okay.
good.
Chairman,
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Toby Aimo?
Yes.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, we have one more unsafe.
You want your pictures back, or?
Yeah, you can take.
A nice
As far as you know, we really are.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. We have one more
4244, right, we're going
unsafe. Oh, no, we're going to talk about, nope, we're going to go back. Mr. Di Benigno, well, we'll do the unsafe, and then we'll talk about 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so 4442 Academy Street. We have some, yes, there we go. This is the basement, I'm assuming?
Yeah, here's a video.
There's people living in the basement?
No.
Oh, this is the-
house.
Main floor?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness.
The video's not, it doesn't give you.
Oh, come on, David, you should have been.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Doesn't give you the full experience, you said?
The
It
smells.
just gave me enough of an experience, thanks.
You'd have to be there to get the
No,
smells.
okay.
It definitely should smell. It looks smelly. Ay, ay, ay. I can almost bet that the reason Amiata has more drug addicts is because of all of these buildings that.
So this building, oh, I guess there's some stills too.
That's fine.
Scratch and sniff. Scratch and photos.
That's
Right.
just
It's a lot of
water leaking
waste
in the
in it.
basement, or is that sewage leaking in the basement?
We're not exactly sure. It came from the kitchen above it, which came from the bathroom above the kitchen, that's why the ceiling's missing.
When did you do it? Is it recently after it rained or, you know?
No, I think that's mostly overflow from a shower,
Okay,
I think. Maybe.
Okay, so, you've given us a, notice of violation that was sent to Mr. Nickerson. It's not exactly based on chapter 92. I have looked at the items that you have listed, they are all based on the state building code, which is great. Which again, I recommend that we add a section to chapter 92 that says violations of the state building code. That would cover all these things, but in addition to that, I believe that these are B, C, D, E, G, H, and I. So I will make that motion that we declare this property unsafe based on those criteria of chapter 92-1.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Further questions or discussion? Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennoxen?
Yes.
Commissioner Tiliano?
Okay, based on that, we will definitely order this, I believe, vacated. I don't know how we're going to accomplish that.
So we intend to remedy the mess that's in that one room, cause it's it's pretty hazardous, so we intend to remedy that. The rest of the unit, that's only one side, it's like a 2-unit, there's a unit on each side, we haven't been in the other side. I mean, I would perhaps recommend that we do a full inspection of the entire building, because it's currently out of compliance anyway. Yeah, so we were in this particular unit just because we went there with the police. It's pretty messy.
How many people did you see there or?
So that side has 4 people that are living there and then a 5th squatter that was in that room. And it's
They're
pretty-
all squatters in this building?
No.
Oh.
There are 4 tenants, and then there's a squatter living with one of the tenants in that room.
Oh.
And that room's pretty full of like human excrement and urine, all kinds of stuff.
Food,
And
you know,
we
those
have the right to
fresh
go
food
in and clean
around.
that, you're saying, to remedy it?
Yeah, so we have the ability to remedy that. I've already talked to the city health official, and
Okay.
the other tenants have let us into that building repeatedly because they obviously don't want that mess in their living area. There's a garage that we already ordered demolished that hasn't been removed, so I'm gonna start getting bids to remove the garage because it's pretty dangerous as well. There's also a back porch that's, I would say, on the verge of probably caving in, like the back porch roof.
Where's the owner of this property?
It's Mr. Nickerson. He's very, very elderly. If you remember, he was in here about 6 months ago about a different property, and he's very incapable of taking care of things. So I believe this is something that is ultimately going to come down to some kind of enforcement. So I will make a motion that we order the property vacated immediately. We secure the unstable back porch, make it so that people can't be on that, and order the building repaired within 3 months. It won't be. I mean, let's be realistic here.
Can we also put in our order that code, inspect the entire building?
Yes.
And that code will be in touch with the health department to remedy this
One
one
situation.
situation of a room?
Well, so we can already, the code says that we
Yeah,
can
you can
remedy
already
this.
do that, right?
So we're already going to remedy.
Right, but it would help if it was on our record too. So that's a fine motion.
Which side needs to be vacated, 42 or 44?
Which side is this, gentlemen, 42 or 44?
It is 44.
44, but I'd like both 42, 44 inspected, please.
Just as far as the vacate.
Right, vacate is 42.
You come with us, Dana?
Yeah. But you know what day, I'll take a sick day.
We're ready.
So Dana, you're making that motion?
Yes, I make that motion.
Second,
I'll second the
It was
motion.
raining.
Okay, I'll take it personal.
further discussion? Further discussion?
Shoes and throw.
Chair Markley?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobiano?
Yes, please.
Okay, one more set of items for us. Mr. Di Benigno is the owner of the properties at 10 Division Street, 14 Chester Street, and 16 Rose Avenue.
Yes.
He has appealed several administrative fees. If you look at his appeal, which is fairly early, it's right after what we were just looking at. This is his appeal. For whom it may concern, I would like to appeal the following invoices, and he lists them.
Without reasoning.
If you look at the attached invoice, the code says, any person wishing to dispute any findings upon which an administrative fee is imposed may appeal such determination to the Board of Public Service. Appeals must be submitted to the Code Enforcement Office and must be received by the Code Enforcement Office within 30 days of the date of the bill for payment of the administrative fees. Appeals must be submitted in writing and must clearly state the basis for the appeal and why the factual determination of the Code Enforcement Officer was either incorrect or without factual basis. Any appeal filed without written allegations of specific incorrect facts or incorrect procedures on the part of the city shall be dismissed without further hearing. A claim of ignorance of the provisions of the statute shall not constitute a basis for a valid appeal. So I believe that Mr. Di Benigno just doesn't want to pay these bills. He hasn't given us any basis whatsoever about why he and we're gonna hear about that, but I would like to start with a motion to deny all 4 appeals.
I'll second it.
If I could have a second?
Yeah, she seconded.
Okay, you second. Okay, now let's hear about these appeals, under the discussion. You don't have any basis for,
No, I mean, he's,
Never contacted us.
yeah, he's never complied. He'll come and appeal them in the past, and without having meeting the requirement, and doesn't really address any sort of argument towards the code.
there isn't, like his vacant property designation, he has not applied for.
He's not registered it.
I attempted to assist him one time in filling out some of the forms that he was required to fill out to meet some of the compliance issues he has, and we actually had to escort him out of City Hall with the police, so it was very, just me attempting to assist him in filing the paperwork resulted in an altercation with police.
And that's why we have a police officer outside. So we have a motion. Is there any basis for any of these fees to, I mean, he hasn't given us any indication what they might be.
And is there anything remedied? No.
No.
don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't.
These were end of the year's fees, right? So they're still accruing.
So they're still growing. They didn't
Still
grow
hasn't
actually
filled
yet.
out the vacant property form,
Right.
still hasn't met the requirements on any of his rental properties.
So what do we do in a case like that? This isn't one property, it's multiple properties.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
In
I think
different
those are all the
places.
ones he
Yep.
owns.
3 different places.
What do we do with that? What do we,
I mean-
what can we do, or what does the city do? What do we have, what can we do to assist the city to do something? Anything?
I mean, our,
The fees are, that is the purpose of the fees. The purpose of the fees is to encourage property owners to get their inspections in by a certain date when they're due. And that's not the case in this regard, as far as any indication we have, that these are all outstanding and continuing to accrue. So in that case, and also based on what we're required to receive from the, I mean, if he had come in today and given us some documentation about why we shouldn't, we might have considered them, but he's not here and we have no indication. And as you can see from the code, it says any appeal that doesn't have that thing must be
Which
dismissed.
we've had before in the past as well.
I mean, some of these buildings, they don't have tenants in them.
They're vacant.
And he already has the letter telling him to clearly state the reasons for his appeal, and he
Yeah.
ignored that.
It's on it, it's right on the invoice itself.
I mean, our next option is we start ticketing them in city court, we could go to the county and try to get some sort of injunction against them, or we start ticketing as tenants for occupying a building that's
My
not.
concern
You
is
get
the buildings that do, yeah,
Why
sorry.
would we do that?
My concern is the buildings that do have tenants, then we need to remedy the situation. I mean, I know like Rose Ave doesn't have tenants, I think it is, right, that's the one that's vacant.
Well, 10 Division, or not 10, is it 10?
10 Division.
Yeah, 10 Division, we don't think has tenants.
16 rows, the last.
10 Division is the one that had squatters,
Oh,
that
yeah.
we ordered it vacated,
That's
and it was
not bad.
Chester
vacated.
has
It's
tenants.
actually had some work done on
Yeah,
it.
they got-
So that one's coming along, but that's the vacant property that we.
So 14 Chester has
Tenants.
tenants.
And the last time I was at that property, there were violations.
And 16 Rose,
That's vacant.
is that the old?
No.
No,
That was,
That's
that's
just another
down
property.
from it,
yeah, same block though.
Okay,
I mean, the next option is we would go to court and be like, we have to get into these places, give us a warrant to.
I'm thinking that would be a better option.
I mean, warrant needs to do that, right? Warrant, we need to get to that point, at this point.
A warrant to go to court? No, except your,
We'd have to go to court, yeah, we would
No,
have
what I'm
to.
saying is you think that it's at that point where you should be doing that, or, cause we're,
I'm thinking that it would be,
I mean,
because
there's a,
fine line.
yeah, so I mean, we get into the world of, we could get a warrant and we could do the inspections and then we could issue them violations and then you could correct them, or we would have to take them to city court for code tickets and, I mean, ultimately you end up getting to this place where you declare a building unsafe, and if the tenants continue to live there, we ticket the tenants because they're occupying an unsafe building, or they just live there at their own peril, and if some horrible thing happens, it's on them.
that's
So
why,
this 14 Chester, I'm sorry to interrupt you, 14 Chester that has tenants, does he need to allow you in, or can the tenants allow you in?
The tenants can allow us.
Tenants can, yeah. They
So-
won't- It's their,
Can we do, like, I know that that's kind of like out of our realm as the board, but can you guys do that so that I feel morally better about this could be more than just a, administration feel for electric violation, maybe
there again,
it's,
you're running into the same problem. You go in there and you write up these violations.
but then at that point, you can bring it to us and we can vacate it, is my
Right,
idea.
yeah, okay, I was just gonna say,
Find
the
reason
tenants
for
side of it.
vacation.
Right.
But,
So-
yeah.
So the only thing is, if you guys order a vacate, like you did at River Street, what is it, 31 or whatever it is, and we post it as unsafe and we order it vacated and the tenants opt not to leave, we go, okay, you live there at your own peril, or we go to court and we evict the tenant, or we get a judge to order the eviction of the tenants.
it's gonna be hardship on the tenant.
yeah, I'm not sure this is a useful discussion here. This is a question of administrative fees.
Right.
There are none of the, yes, there are heating and, the issues here are heating and,
Fires.
electrical and housing inspection. The others are designations of vacant property
Yeah, no, mine was
designations.
the 14 that's
Yeah.
still with people, that's electric violations. I don't know what the electric violations are in particular. Could it lead to, is it 400, is it 2? Like, because there's an
Yeah,
exception.
but it isn't really up to the code enforcement office to do an electrical inspection.
Okay.
That's why the administrative fee is supposed to encourage you to get it done, and then we know what the condition is. So I would just think we should take our action if we choose to deny the appeal and let the fees stand, and let that be the encouragement for Mr. DiBenigno to get his work done. That's the purpose of the administrative fees, and I don't think we need to get the code enforcement office to do more there at this time. I mean, if they, when they do an inspection, which maybe they will, and they come back and say it's very unsafe, then we can act on that. But at this point, I don't think that's the case. So, yes,
Chairman,
yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
Yes.
Commissioner Tony,
Yes.
Thank you. There you have it. If you'd like to join us, we would love to
I didn't
have
do
you.
anything except grumble once.
We would love to have you on the board.
Do I-
There's your seat right there.
Do I get a nameplate? You didn't put your nameplate on.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have one yet. She's also very new.
Well,
You won't get one right away either.
They're very slow.
yeah.